Endless calls today, all from me, but none of them satisfy your dependency.
Hey, what's up? This is Charlie Brown. I'm a singer-songwriter from London, and you are watching LozMusic.com. What kind of student was I in school? I was good. I was good at school. For the first 3 years, up until about year 9, I was probably more on point than the last couple of years. And then the more I was getting into music, the more I kind of like mentally checked out of classes a little bit. But yeah, I was always pretty good. I was never like a bad kid at school. I'm pretty lucky because I had like one job in like a sports shop when I was like at high school, and out of high school I got signed into my publishing deal with a publisher called Simon Fuller, a company called 19 that happened straight out of high school. So I lucked out because I kind of got into music straight away. Yeah, so Simon invented Pop Idol, so it was a really pop label, so a lot of the acts I was writing for at the time were like European pop idols, Canadian pop idol, and my first songwriting cut was for the winner of Canadian Idol that I actually wrote with these two Irish guys called Mark and Danny, who later formed The Script. So Danny O'Donoghue and Mark Sheenan were the first songwriters I ever wrote with, and we had a couple of cuts that came out of that trip, so that was amazing. Ryan Malcolm was the artist who cut them, or cut one of them, and he was the winner of the very first Canadian Idol, I think. And then there was an artist called Keisha Shante, who was an R&B artist signed to a Canadian label that Mark and Danny asked me to kind of jump in on the session with them for. Jay Sean was one of my first songwriting cuts as well. I had a few songs on his debut album with one of his producers, Rishi Rich, who's an amazing guy. I'd love to get back in the studio with him. So yeah, it was a good opportunity in those early days to just kind of learn how it all works, and yeah, just kind of learn what a songwriter did by trade, because before that publishing deal I didn't really know that you could do that for a job.
I'm getting crazy with my girls tonight, and I will ride in singles line, just go.
Yeah, so I met RedOne on a writing trip. It was in New York in 2000, and I thought it was 2006, but I saw Red at the Brits a couple of weeks ago, and he told me it was actually earlier than that, it was 2004. We just really clicked. He was great. I loved his beats. He had a song out with Christina Milian at the time. This was years before the whole Gaga thing. And he was just the most chill guy I've ever met. We wrote for the whole week, and he actually let me sleep on his couch for a week as well. So I got to know him, and we spoke about music and his journey to where he come from and where he was at the time. And he'd already been through a lot then, let alone now. But obviously he's like, you know, changed pop music with the whole Lady Gaga thing. So yeah, I think he deserves everything. I didn't write for Keith Sweat. I had the pleasure of meeting Keith Sweat because I wrote with the late great Fitzgerald Scott Sr., who was a great songwriter who wrote a lot of hits for Keith Sweat and Another Level and Lamar, and I wrote with him in Atlanta in 2006 and 2007. I kind of semi-broke into Keith Sweat's house in a way. I'll explain, because Fitzgerald had called him and said, I want to introduce you to this new artist, Charlie Brown, the songwriter. And Keith was like, yeah, cool, bring him over. But we hadn't really like decided on a time, and we just kind of rocked up at the house unannounced. And I don't think he was like really prepared for company. I didn't want us there on that particular day and time. So he was ignoring all of Fitz's calls and wasn't answering the door. But we just went in anyway, because I was just really excited to meet him. I was like, oh, we're here now, let's just go in. And Fitz was like, cool, let's do it. And yeah, he had like guard dogs and stuff that were going crazy and running around the house. And so he actually was like shouting upstairs like to see who'd come in the house, and he just like found us in his kitchen. So yeah, I don't know if that counts as breaking and entering, but I definitely kind of turned up unannounced. But after like we explained the situation, he was completely cool, and he took us down to the studio and we hung out for a few hours. So yeah, he's a cool guy. So I nearly signed a deal in 2009, I think it was. I was basically just writing in LA with producers and people who become friends who I met via my publisher on different writing trips, and we just got this body of work together and these bunch of songs that fell into the hands of various different labels in the US while I was there. And I was offered a couple of deals and it was all like going through and lawyers were working on it and it was all looking like it was going to happen with one particular label, and then it didn't, it just fell through, and I have absolutely no idea why. I'd love to know. Hopefully I'll get to meet the A&Rs one day and ask why, but every artist I meet who's having success now has similar stories where like something nearly happened and didn't, or did happen and then fell through, or you know, you name it. I mean, I know Robin Thicke had something like 7 record deals or something before the one that actually stuck. I know Jessie J was signed before she got her big break with Universal. I think Pixie Lott might have had a similar story. I think everyone I know has some kind of story to tell. Even people now that are coming through X Factor and The Voice, they've all got similar stories. I think it's just something we all go through. I'm not mad about it. It's just a kind of interesting journey to go on, and at the time it was really hard to kind of stay focused after all that. I think when you get knocked down like that, to stay motivated is really hard, and I think you'd be lying if you said that you never once wanted to quit or even said it out loud in a moment of frustration or whatever. And I definitely have moments where I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, because you go through so many ups and downs. But I think if you love something and it's your passion, you'll always come back to it. You'll be pissed off for a week and won't write, but then you'll always come back to it. I think it's just the passion just keeps you there, it keeps you going. And if you really believe in the product and what you've got and the songs and the material, then you're always going to come back to it and always going to keep pushing. So I think that's what it is.
You got what they call a dependency on another. What you got, I can't help you with at all. You got a real bad habit. I know you try to manage it, but I notice when you're caught me. It's a real bad habit, and I just ain't gonna have it. 'Cause your habit takes the best of me.
I have an album coming out in the summer called Dreamstate, and the deepest song on that record would have to be a song called 10 Steps that I wrote in LA with one of my favourite producers, Wayne Rodriguez, who's responsible for Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, which is one of my favourite songs. And I wrote this song, 10 Steps, about being everything that I've just spoke about career-wise, and the whole, you're gonna get signed in America, no you're not, yes you are, no you're not. Getting 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back, like feeling like you're about to do something but it gets taken away, or something doesn't work out, or the stars don't align, and blah, blah, blah. So that was the deepest song, because I wrote it while it was happening as well. So I didn't really know that there was going to be a road out of it at the time when I wrote it. I was just kind of hoping and having faith that there would be. So yeah, that's probably the most intense song on the record. As far as collaborations on the record, I mean, obviously I've already got Young and Miss D on there for Dependency. Shout out to them for jumping on the song. I think they both just really took it up a level for me and did a great job. Other collaborations, there's a few people I'd love to work with in the UK, especially like Wiley I've worked with a lot in the past. I've got a few songs with him and I hope we get to collaborate on something new or release one of the ones we've already recorded.
Bless beats everywhere. Charlie Brown. Joe, I was trapped in the rain, been through pain, could've went insane for real. Even now it still plays in my brain, but I gotta stay sane for my sake. Certain points that get raised.
I love Lana Del Rey. I think she's so interesting, and I love the way she puts stuff together, and her visuals and the whole concept behind her artistry and what she does is really inspiring. So hopefully I get to work with her. Katie B, I'm a big fan of hers. I think she's great. Outside the UK, I love Sia, I love Miguel. Frank Ocean's an amazing artist. I met him a few years ago and I got to watch him work and do his thing, but way before he kind of released any material of his own. A friend of mine was signed to Geffen Records in the US. He was part of a group called FDM. Lonnie, later known as Frank Ocean, had written for their record, and I was in LA, so my friend just made the connection on email, I think, and was just like, oh, you guys should hook up. So I was lucky enough to be able to meet Lonnie, and yeah, he introduced me to a couple producers. One of the teams was MIDI Mafia, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne, I'm one half of MIDI Mafia, and you're watching lots of music.
So Frank introduced me to them, and we hung out at the studio, and yeah, I saw Frank at the Lonnie, either one, at the Brit Awards just recently.
And the winner is Frank flipping Ocean, people!
I kind of like just came over to the table and was like, what's up, do you remember me, blah, blah, blah. And for a second he was like, and then he was like, you look so different, because I had long hair then, not long hair, but longer than this. So yeah, I mean, he's having so much success right now, and it's all so deserved, and he's just such a great writer and a great talent, so yeah, big up. Yeah, do you know what? I just told that story, the real story, to someone on the team that we were just talking to, and definitely not going to say it online. It's really embarrassing. It's something that happened at a high-profile radio event that I was doing, and I'm really sorry, but I can't say it. I'm doing what I did on the Twitch cam. In terms of like legacy and what I want to achieve, I mean, I just want to be a great songwriter who has kind of like a track record of writing for other artists, and I want to continue that in the future and use any kind of platform I get as an artist to help me branch into writing for other people as well as doing my own thing. So hopefully I can just cover both bases and just be as creative as possible and just put out good music. That's basically what I'm trying to do.